Thank you for tuning into another episode of Breaking the Silence where you can unleash your inner voice with Nikki Nicole. So, how many of y'all went blind today looking for the eclipse? Well, I already wear glasses, so I don't think I need those problems. So, today's guest is Danielle Perkins, better known as Dani Marie. Let me tell y'all a backstory about me and Dani Marie. We met on Facebook. We have never laid eyes on each other. From the moment I met her, she has been the encourager, motivator, and helpful on this journey of podcasting. Because believe me, podcasting can be very challenging at times. It is an unbelievable friendship that I am so blessed to have. She is a multi-talented woman with a vision that is unbelievable. She is the host of 5 podcasts. I don't know how she does it because I struggle with just one podcast. She is also a podcast strategist. Well, she helps other people with their podcasts. She is a seasoned professional with over 15 years of experience. She has a proven track record of managing successful YouTube video podcasts, achieving 500 subscribers in less than a year. She has conducted 124 interviews in just 2.5 months, in which specialize in helping industry experts translate their passions into captivating podcasts. Her plans are to launch, grow, and monetize 100 shows by the end of 2024. And you know what? The way she's going, I believe it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, actually. She has a true passion for podcasting. She is currently holding a position as Chief of Marketing and Strategy and Engagement Officer at a leading Texas-based media company. I am so excited. When I say excited, I am so excited about conversing with her today and learning some more tips and finding out how she became the woman she is today. So, after the countdown, please, everyone, welcome Miss Dani Marie to the stage. Hello.
Coming to the room, y'all. Man, you put together such an incredible production. I just am so happy and grateful to be on the platform with you, but I'll let you go ahead and do your thing. I'm sorry. I got the takeover spirit. Thank you. This is awesome.
Thank you for being a guest on Breaking the Silence. I really do appreciate you.
Yes, likewise. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me what inspired you to become a podcaster?
You know what? I was at the cusp of losing both jobs during COVID. I became a mom and lost my dad and just needing somewhere to go to talk about all of this tough stuff, my new reality. And so didn't know what things were going to be during the pandemic. Knowing that I was raised in a single parent household and I became a single mom, I needed somewhere to talk about this stuff and really just deal with all of those things that I was kind of the cards that I was handed. And so I chose to move into podcasting, like I said, at the cusp of losing 2 full-time jobs, wanting to move in something different, knowing podcasting can afford me all of those things, a place to talk about all of my experiences, deal with my self-identity issues, deal with becoming a mom for the first time and a single mom at that, and then somewhere where I could potentially make some income. I chose podcasting. And then also, I did share this before that it just so happened when I wasn't driving at the time, I was in the back of a Lyft car. some person handed me, who was the Lyft driver, handed me their card. And 2 years later, I ended up working with him. He was my podcast producer. So God works in mysterious ways.
Definitely, definitely. Wow, wow. There's your why.
That's
So,
my why.
what do you think is the most common myth about podcasting?
Two things. I think that people don't plan, and I understand kind of just wanting to jump in things, because if you plan too much, you basically will kind of get stuck in that. So not wanting to plan and then find out that maybe you should have planned, because now you're just spinning your wheels and you're throwing the dart and hitting and missing the target. But also that podcasting and the market is overly saturated, and who would want to hear from you, and what will make you unique that people will want to tap in with you. So first of all, it's not an oversaturated market. That's like saying you shouldn't be an author of a book because there's already so many books out there. That's like saying you shouldn't have a social media account because everybody has a social media account. So throw that myth and that out the window, because it's not overly saturated. Not everybody can be and do the things that you do. No one, there's no two of you, right? So it's not overly saturated. You bring something incredibly valuable to the space, and people want to hear from you. And then also, the first one is that you don't need to plan. And I think that's a myth. Yes, it's true. You can jump into things, but again, you will find yourself spinning your wheels, especially if you want to make this a full-time thing. If you want to profit from doing this, you definitely need to have a strategy. It's okay to learn along the way, but at least have a clear strategy for why. What's your why, and what goals do you set for yourself? What do you want to see at the end of 3 months, at the end of 6 months, at the end of 9 months? Not just kind of spinning your wheels and hoping things will happen for you. Go in there with an intention, go in there with a clear plan, clear mind, clear focus.
I agree. You can't just jump into podcasting and say, I'm not gonna plan anything. I'm just gonna do it. Every day I set goals. It's like every day you got to set a new goal for the next goal to the next goal. It's a never ending thing, and it can be expensive. It can be expensive because you're gonna be testing out different equipment. You're gonna be moving from that equipment to the next best thing, and hey, listen, I want a Shure microphone. That costs us about $400 or $500 for that microphone. So, I mean, I agree. You can't just jump into this and just say, "Oh, I'm gonna be a podcast." And plus, you have to have that passion to go with it too. And
Absolutely.
you have to be driven, because if you're not driven, then it's not gonna work.
Right. And then, like you said, it can be expensive. Can you imagine just purchasing all of this equipment only later to find out that it doesn't work for the type of format that you're trying to do on your platform? So go in there with some education, and you can do that via me, a podcast strategist who can help you on your journey.
Right. And then not only that though, then you have to have your monthly costs, like for your streaming apps, your appointment apps. Like, it's so many expenses overhead that you have too, on top of having that equipment. So you have to really have a passion for it and want to do it, or you just gonna be wasting money.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So what do you think is the first step in starting your own podcast?
So I am, first and foremost, if I was to break it down into 3 steps, I'm big on launch, grow, monetize. But then once you've launched, that was the question, right?
Mhm.
So once you've launched, I would say, and I just did a reel about this not too long ago. Once you've launched, you need to edit, well, after you've launched, you're wanting to edit and all of that in the process. But then after you've launched, promote, promote, promote. So you need to be on social media pages and telling people about what you do. You need to go live. You need to create some buzz and momentum, maybe create a campaign around your launch of your podcast. And then that same process that goes into those first few steps that you did to get to that launch, just rinse, recycle, and repeat. That's another myth. People feel like it is very, there is a lot of steps, but there's only like 5 key steps. So once you get that formula down, you can just kind of use that over and over again for every episode. So now you have your workflow, and you're able to do this and put this content out at this very high level because you've worked in the workflow, and you're just using that same systematic process. You're going
Mhm.
to do that over and over and over again 20 times over, 50 times over, however long you see yourself doing this. But there is like 5 integral steps after you've launched. But I say one of the first ones is promote the podcast after you've launched your podcast.
Wow, you know what? You're gonna make mistakes along the journey because I don't know if everybody out there can tell the improvement, but from the very first episode, it wasn't bad, but I can see my growth. You know, as I went along, I started thinking in my head, the wheels started rolling. You're gonna change constantly in your podcasting journey too. You're not gonna always remain the same. I did realize that, but it's a constant battle every day. You gotta like research your needs. You gotta research, you got to go to classes, you got to go to workshops, you got to like, if you want to get better, you got to improve on some levels along the way. Even though you think I'm there, I don't think I'm there.
I think you're there. I have seen some improvements, but I think that you've consistently been on top of it. And I will say one of my strategies early on and why I did 5 shows is because I wanted to get ahead of those learning curves very quickly. I wanted to establish myself as an expert in this space. I wanted people to see me as somebody highly regarded in the space. Like I'm doing all of the things, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So that's why I did all 5 shows, not only because it became addictive for me, I was really excited about the different facets of podcasting, but also I wanted to get those numbers behind my belt, at a quick pace. And I wanted people to be like, goodness, what is she doing? What can I be doing? And so that's why I chose to do those 5 shows because I was trying to get somewhere and grow at a rapid pace.
Wow. I don't know how you do it because with one podcast, I can imagine if I had a second podcast, I wouldn't sleep at all. So how are you balancing 5 podcasts though? What is your secret to that?
So I archived those shows as of March, but my secret was first and foremost a workflow. Definitely as a single mom working around my kids' schedule. Sometimes I was not always effective, but I would have to get up. This is discipline. And we talked about this before. You have to basically, do what it takes. And so for us, Team No Sleep, that's kind of the anthem and the motto. Some people wouldn't agree with that, but I knew I wanted to get somewhere. So I would have to wake up at 5 a.m. and have my first podcast interview at 5:30 because I'm on the West Coast. I want to accommodate people who are on the East Coast before they have to go to work or do what they need to do for the day. And then because I was trying to work around my kids' schedule, try to get up before they have a chance to get up and interrupt my situation. So getting up before they can get up, have some time to myself, and then still be able to be good when I'm interviewing at 5:30 a.m. Then the second interview of the day was at 1:30 p.m. during my kids' sleep schedule or nap time, or when my oldest was in school. And then I got crafty. I added one for the 5:30 time slot. And with that one, I just took myself off camera. So trying to work around different people. So for that one, I think that was planned to podcast. I just wouldn't be on camera. They answer the questions, and then I use AI to kind of be the fill-in for me. So then I would edit it with AI. But because I knew my kids would be up, moving around, vibrant, lively, talking, I use tools like AI to be the voice. So there's ways around it. There's strategies around it, but most importantly, a workflow. The second thing, I ended up hiring a talent booker, someone who would go out and who would go find the guests. So I wouldn't have to worry my head about that. So I actually met him by interviewing him. So he was a guest on my platform, met him in the shout out to Need a Guest. If you guys are looking for guests, go find Need a Guest. There's people in there who are ready to connect with you, upwards of, I think, 20,000 members. Black Podcast Network was another resource. But I had him to be the talent booker. He would refer people to my link, and this is why I like Zoom. On Zoom, that was a part of my workflow. I know we've had conversations about this before, Nikki. But for me, on Zoom, part of my workflow was using Zoom for the form because Zoom has a form that's embedded in there. Then you have the links that you can I have 5 shows, so I could create 5 different links that people could use to book with me. It synchronizes with my Google Calendar, so I don't have to think twice. I just can look one day in advance to know who I'm going to be talking with. Those questions help me to frame the questions a day in advance. if that format required for me to have a question. Sometimes it was organic, just depending on what the platform was. And so I would say, just to narrow it down to the three, I had a team, I had a workflow, and I had drive.
Wow. But you know what? We've had that conversation about Zoom versus StreamYard. I mean, Zoom seems like if you put it that way, it has a little bit more, but I like the fancy stuff. So that's why StreamYard is like winning for me, because Zoom is just so basic for me.
Yeah, I put that poll out on different platforms, and everybody, it's usually Zoom, Riverside, or StreamYard. Of course, there's Ecamm, and a few others, but I've only toyed around with those ones that I mentioned. And Zoom just took the cake for me because of all those things were worked into Zoom. It's not fancy, so I had to kind of give myself a little backdrop here. But I do like what you got going on here. You have made me, you have convinced me. I might be considering, just depending on where I'm going to next. You might see me with something like this, because you brought me over.
Listen, I had to get rid of the virtual background. I don't know if everybody realized that. And I put my photo wall back up behind me, because the virtual, you have to get a green screen, and to perfect it. And see, I have a green screen, but in order for that green screen to work properly, it has to be well lit. So it was just a lot of issues with that. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go to my natural.
I
It
know
is what
you
it is.
strive for perfection on your platform, and it comes across very well. But yes, I've seen those people that if they move in one direction and they got that green screen, you could just see all the glitches in the back.
I hate that. I really hate
Yeah.
that with a passion. So you said something about monetizing. Okay.
Mhm.
So people ask me all the time, Danny. They were like, well, how are you making money off your podcast if you're not charging people to come on your podcast? I said, you know what? I'm never gonna charge people to come shine a light on them. That's just not something I want to do. So how do you make money off being, having a podcast? I mean, obviously you have to know you have five.
Yeah, so so I think a lot of people think, okay, yes, we need to charge people, and that's true. You can choose to charge depending on the platform and the space that you've curated. One way that you can go about charging people, now this is a plug. So maybe you don't charge them upfront for joining your platform and coming on, but maybe you charge them for creating a VIP experience and curating something special for them, like giving them the clips, including them in your newsletter, giving them a special Q&A segment, maybe in your Patreon account. So there's other ways that you might create a VIP experience for that special guest by adding those additional offers and upselling them to move into something like I said, another idea was move the top of the line. So maybe you pre-record your show. You don't pre-record your show, but maybe you pre-record. You can tell people, I have so many people waiting to get on my platform. If you want to skip the line, that's an extra
Mhm.
5, 6, 10, 20, $150, whatever the amount. But to create an extra experience for those people, maybe they will pay for a package to get that VIP experience, which might include skipping the line. You create and cut up clips for them. You create a commercial for them and add them to your newsletter. But there's also approaching people locally. Like there's a small business that I'm sure that you like to frequent to get your favorite chicken strips and fries or your favorite catfish basket. Approach them and ask them if they would like to have a slot on your platform. You can also start to sell merch. There's websites like Teespring that you can create a dashboard and sell merch. You can actually sell on Canva. They have some merch on Canva that you can actually sell. You can also use Vistaprint to sell merch. You can purchase yourself one of those printers and sell merch out of your own home and cut out that middle person. It just depends on overhead and what you can afford and what you're willing to put up with. But there's also affiliate links. So maybe if you partner with someone, so I'm starting something called Masterclass Mondays. Masterclass Mondays, I'm just going to get an expert who is an expert in their respective field on my platform. And I'm going to basically be the person, like in your position, Nikki, just the facilitator to create the platform. They're going to give all of their expert level advice. After that, we can create a workbook from the content and the transcript. We can create an ebook from what they provided, just something. You can repurpose that transcript into several different things, and you can offer that as a digital product. So yeah, there's so many different ways you can be an affiliate. If somebody's on your platform, you can say, for sending me your followers and listeners to my platform, you can get 15% off the deal, or 15% cut or a commission. So affiliate links, merch, VIP experiences, digital products, those are at least 4 ways that you can monetize. And then even with using Facebook, you guys might hear my snoring child. I'm so sorry. Even with Facebook, you can use the stars. That's also an option. And then when you're repurposing your reels on Facebook, you can get paid from that as well if you produce content for the social media platforms. Also, shout out to affiliates like peerspace.com. If you're an affiliate there, you can get a cut by telling people to use peerspace.com and go to We Sponsored. They always have sponsorship opportunities for content creators. Basically, you're going to find a campaign that works the best for you and basically follow those instructions for that campaign and get a commission from following through with that campaign. Maybe you're telling people to go purchase this Bees Carmex for your lips, and then whoever does so, you'll get a commission from that. So there's a lot of ways you can monetize.
Okay. Well, that sounds good because I'm gonna have to dig out some of those ways because the purpose, like I said, of my platform is not to charge people to come on here. The purpose is to help people. So it's like when people come up here, my purpose is to give back to them and to connect them with the next person so we all can grow. So that's going to be a great idea for me to try to do those things. So what do you think? What do you think separates you from all the other podcasters out there?
I'm modest. But what separates me, I think just the passion. Like, I don't even necessarily charge everybody for just whoever is asking questions in my inbox. Like, whatever you want to know, I'm going to try to share it with you. Whatever I know, I'm going to try to research. Sometimes people don't even ask, and I'm just like, I see what you're doing. Here's something else that you can add to the mix, because I think that it will just put you up a few notches. And I think people receive it because I'm very humble and I'm very I just want to give. So those are the people that in terms of like the Plan to Podcast and people who I bring on as clients. In terms of listeners, similar to you, I just want people to share their story. I believe everybody should have a platform where they can feel like they can share their story and be heard. And so often on my platforms, I'm just taking the back seat and I'm just giving you the platform, even when it comes to, like I said, going off screen and putting you in the spotlight. Because I just want people to feel like they matter, like their voices are important, like they have a message, and people can be transformed from their message and by them sharing their message. So I think just having the passion to give and serve is ultimately what people are attracted to. And then I come from a place that I'm still approachable and still modest. Like, I'm not, once I learn something, it's not like, okay, I'm not a gatekeeper. I don't try to keep things close to my chest because I feel like that's going to advance me. I feel the opposite. The more that I share and pour into others, and I know you feel the same, the more that we all can thrive and the more we're all winning as a collective.
Exactly. I agree. She's absolutely right, everybody. She does not hold back. If I jump in that inbox and say, hey, I got a quick question, boom, she own it. She's helping me if I have this. To me, it'd be crazy questions. Like, I'm like, I should have known that. Oh, duh. Okay, yeah, okay, thanks. I mean, she's real modest about it. She does not gatekeep. But there's a lot of people out there that does gatekeep, and they think for whatever reason, giving information is going to stop them from growing. No, it's going to make you grow if you release that information, because now not only are you winning from giving that information, they're winning too. So come on, you can't gatekeep. So what do you think is the biggest challenge for you in podcasting?
The biggest challenge is probably my kids. The biggest challenge is probably my kids, but I mean, it's not so much my challenge, but I'm sure that people probably put me in a box, if they hear my kid in the background snoring or yelling sometimes, because sometimes that happens, unfortunately. then people probably are like, she's not credible, or she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's ghetto. Who has their kids? When really you should be thinking, how is this woman still doing this and having the kids take care of themselves in the background? That's what you should be thinking. But I think really just having to work around my kids is my biggest challenge. But then if I had to get practical and give you something else besides my kids, the biggest challenge is probably trying to scale and get to those numbers that I want to get to monetizing and getting the revenue that I want, because I want to get myself in a better situation than what I'm in now. Like, I'm not making all the buku money right now. So wanting to get to a certain dollar amount, so that I can feel comfortable is what I want and desire. But having to learn that things happen in due season, and just kind of taking those steps because they're necessary. There's no microwave or cookie cutter way. I mean, sorry, not microwave, but there's not cookie cutter, sorry. No cookie cutter way to it or microwave way. You have to put in the work and be consistent, and you have to be very diligent in order to see the success and reap what you sow.
I agree. I agree. But are you one of those type of people that get up every morning and check those numbers?
I'm not those people. Eh, maybe when it comes to, like, if I did a big campaign, I want to see how well that did. That's when I'll look into it. But no, not checking numbers, like, very vain. No.
But do you
It
think
happens.
numbers?
Don't stress yourself out. Don't stress yourself out, you guys. It does happen, but don't do that to yourself.
Do you think the numbers matter though? Because I think it's a struggle with getting followers on like YouTube. It's a struggle, like to
Mm.
me.
Yeah, you know what? Some of the big top creators that I follow I'm hearing that more and more and more. I'm hearing those conversations more and more and more. I think that those big entities, those platforms, are after the almighty dollar in order for them to be successful and sustainable. And so they are regulating the algorithms, despite the claims that they're not. That they want you to pay for that advertising. They want you to boost that post. They want you to pay. And so, yes, I do think that, we are in such a way being like stifled, but I
Mhm.
think that you have to be consistent only up until the point that you break whatever the breakthrough is, whatever that threshold is. So you have to be consistent, because at one point there's going to be a new avenue, a new platform. And so you're just waiting for that moment, but still showing up and being consistent in the things that you can control right now. So I follow This is Nikki on This is Nikki platform, Nikki and Moose, if you guys are familiar with her podcast, which she just ended that podcast. And she makes those claims all of the time. Um, I follow, who's another example that I hear saying it all of the time? I was going to say David Shands, but I don't know that he says that often. But I hear a lot of people, and I can't think of them right now. Okay, so fan base, Isaac Hayes, he was just on Earn Your Leisure's platform saying the same thing and telling people, you know, their top stakeholders are the big brands, the big name brands. And so to keep their engine running and moving, they have to put those ads and place those ads. So that's who they have a vested interest with. Us, if you're not paying for boosting your ads or advertising, you're probably not going to be at the top of the algorithm. So it is what it is. Keep trying and being consistent until you get through the threshold, because maybe with that little bit of following, you can eventually start to pay into ads and stuff. So just take baby steps is all I can say.
Okay, so as we narrow it down to our last few questions, I have one deep for you. If you could choose one superpower, what would it be and how would you use it?
Hmm. If I can use one superpower, it would probably be, I would probably want to time travel. I probably want to time travel. I just want to go into different, eh, is that cliche? Do I want to time travel? I much rather just be able to snap my fingers and just go somewhere else, not necessarily time travel. I just want to be like, okay, I'm hot today. Let me go somewhere where it's cold. Okay, I want to be on a sunny beach. Okay, I want to be on the top of the mountain. So I just want to snap my fingers and be somewhere else when I can. Maybe I might snap my fingers in a bit and snap myself out too.
Wow. That was a good one. That was a good one. So,
You know, everybody's like, girl, you know, you want the money. You know, everybody probably thinking,
right.
money, where's the money?
So what message or advice would you convey to your listeners?
My listeners, because I do have a podcast for podcasting for newbies. If you are a new and aspiring podcaster, you want to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, my advice to you would be number one, have a plan in mind. Number two, join my membership community where you will be a part of people who are as passionate, deeply passionate with podcasting as you are and help you get to the level that you want to get to. Number three, did I say number three already? Number three, I would say show up and be consistent. And number four, continue to do your diligence and do your research, whatever that looks like. So, whatever your topic is, whatever you're interested in learning about, maybe the type of caliber of guests that you have on your platform, just continue to do your due diligence and research.
Awesome, awesome. Now you know the most very important question I have for you of the night is how can people contact you to do business with you?
Yes, so you can contact me. It is Dani Marie on all social media platforms or plan2podcast.com/PTP, which is, I believe, this, yes, it's underneath my name as well. So that's my website. But again, we've already shared, I'm easily accessible. You can hit me up in the DMs. I will reach out to you probably within the next 5 minutes. That's how quick I try to be. But yeah, it is Dani Marie, or www.plan2podcast.com/PTP. And let me add, we're still in the middle of the 5-day challenge. And so we just had day one of the 5-day challenge. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the equipment that you need at whatever level you are at with your budget and also with the type of format. So if you are interview style, we're going to talk about what podcast equipment you need. If you're just going to be you doing a monologue, what podcast equipment you need, etc. So we're in the middle of that. Registration is still open. And so you do want to reach out so that you can get registered, and the link is up there.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. In order to go to the top, we got to stop gatekeeping. We got to try to win together. So please reach out. I'm in that 5-day workshop with her. I attended it today while I was prepping at the same time for her interview. So got to go and support. It's free. It's free. Go if you're trying to start a podcast, you have a passion for it, join. She's giving really good information. I took notes today. There's information that I didn't know. I didn't know it was 2 million podcasts in the world. I mean, you have to do your research on your podcast anyway. You know, anything that you do, you got to do your research. So she taught me something today and she didn't even know it until now. So thank you so much, Dani Marie, for being a guest. And I wish you nothing but success on your journey. If you desire to start that podcast, she is the person to get you there. Trust me. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to her. Please support her on her journey. So thank you everyone for tuning in to yet another episode of Breaking the Silence with Arthur, Nikki, Nicole. Y'all, I'm almost at 40 episodes. Can you believe it? After launching in February, I'm booked all the way to July. I thank you. I cannot say thank you enough to everybody out there that has supported me on this journey. Thank you. I have been blessed with producers to customize beats for my purpose. I've been blessed on this journey. And that's why I continue to try to bless everyone that comes on my podcast. So tune in every Saturday for open mic night so I can showcase those amazing people on the stage with talents. Tune in on Sunday nights as well for intense debates. This week, we're having a debate about the battle of the signs. Aries, Sagittarius, and Pisces. I already know the Pisces gonna win that, but that's another discussion. So remember, the first step to success is what? Taking the first step towards your vision. Write it down, repeat it to yourself every day until it comes true. I'm telling you, it works. For anybody that knows me, know that I'm quiet. I've always been in the shell. So me getting behind this mic, Man, I'm telling you, this is me unleashing my inner voice. And that's why my slogan is, let's break the silence together, unleash your inner voice, because that's what I'm doing. I'm living in my purpose. So I'm a witness to tell you that anything that you want to do in life, you can do it. But stop saying, I will. Stop saying, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. Say, I will do it. I will do it. I'm going to do it. So this has been another successful episode. I thank you again, Miss Dani Marie. I'll forever be grateful to you for being a guest. So everyone, tune in tonight at 9:30 with Alex Morris. He is the host of All in All Alex podcast. He's a videographer, photographer. He's I think he's a producer. I'm not really sure, but I think he does do beats. He wears so many hats. He's the visual goat. That's his name. So tune in tonight at 9:30 for his episode to break the silence together. Y'all have a great evening.